So now that we know the alterations of the major and minor chords, chord quality, we call that. Sometimes we call whether or not something is major or minor, we call that the quality of the chord. Is it a major quality or a minor quality? I want to talk a little bit about some notation here. Now, not notation in terms of the dots on the staff and stuff like that, but how we write down the names of chords. Traditionally, in music theory, this is done with Roman numerals, which is kind of weird if you think about it, but that's just the way we do it. This is just kind of an old, thing. This is just the way it's been done for, centuries. Let's use Roman numerals. And what we do is we use a capital Roman numeral to show a major chord and a lowercase Roman numeral to show a minor chord. And this is useful. Now, this is not something that I'm going to go in a huge amount of depth in this class. We're not going to be doing like big analyses where we're like picking apart Beethoven using Roman numerals. But so I thought I'd just devote a video to it. We'll probably be talking more about some of the Roman numeral stuff later. So I like to talk in terms of just chord names, like saying C major and D minor instead of saying, a one chord in C major. But I do think it's good for you to know. So here's how this works. So when we're looking at this diatonic chord progression right here, we know the major and minor qualities of all these chords, but let's see what that looks like in Roman numerals. So what we would call this is a one chord, and it's a major one chord. We call this a minor two chord, so it just looks like an I. But the reason is this is a minor chord, and it's built on the second scale degree. Okay, that's important. 3. This E is the third scale degree. 2, 3, and a chord built on it is going to be a minor 3 chord. A chord built on the fourth scale degree, F in our case, is going to be major. A chord built on the fifth scale degree is going to be major. So that gets a capital Roman numeral, capital 5 in Roman numerals. A chord built on the sixth scale degree is going to be minor. So that gets a lowercase Roman numeral. And this diminished chord, which is the super ugly chord, we do that in lowercase because remember I said a diminished chord is kind of like a super minor chord. So we do that in lowercase, and then we put this little symbol after it, just the symbol for diminished. So when you see that, that means diminished chord, that little tiny 0 there in the corner. And then this is going to be a major chord, and we're going to call this not 8. We're going to call this 1 because this is the same chord as this. We have no such thing as 8 when it comes to Roman numeral analysis. We only count up to 7, then it starts over because effectively they're the same chords. We don't count the octaves when we're talking about Roman numerals. Whatever octave it's in doesn't matter. It's only the quality and the root that we're talking about. And remember, the root is what's giving it the number in this case. So here the root is E, so it gets the Roman numeral 3 because it's built on the third scale degree. Now in our case here, the roots are at the bottom. All of the roots are the bottoms of the chord, the lowest note of the chord, because that's how we built them. Now when we talk about inversions, that's not going to necessarily be true. That's what inversions are, in fact, is kind of shuffling the deck of your notes so that the root isn't always on the bottom. But more on that shortly. So that's how those Roman numerals work. So let's put that into practice now, and let's look at a song, and we'll write it down in terms of its Roman numerals. And I think you'll see how this can be valuable once we use them in context. So let's jump over to a new video and pick apart a song.